finally, in-game Grant, our first game of the day. Who
did it?
Are we casting right now?
In the bottom left-hand corner, playing for Archangel EU, he is the German Protoss player. It's spaz.
And his opponent in the top right-hand side in the red, representing Cascade Gaming in Germany, it is GunGFuBanDa.
Oh, you see that camera work?
I did see that camera work.
That was clean.
We've got Grant. So mirror matchups, which again, if you're watching the B stream, you're gonna have to get used to today. We've got 5 mirror matchups in a row. What is it? 2 PvPs, 2 ZVZs, and then a third PvP at the end of the day.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll just nod and agree.
Yes, sir. A lot of mirror matchups. So as we said earlier, what we're gonna be looking a lot at are not just strategies, but more importantly, tech rotations and minor build optimizations. As you said earlier, Grant, 1 or 2 probes early game. If you can slip those in, if you can kill off an adept before your opponent does, that is about all you need to do to really take advantage in your first game.
We see that a lot in this map. These red reeds make for a very interesting early game area. You will often see either a Stalker or an Adept hide in these, so they get the first shot, and even just weakening your opponent with 1 extra or 2 extra shots before they're able to fire back can lead to a big difference in an early fight. We do see everything as normal from both our players. Double gateways into Cybernetics core, second gases being filled as the mineral patches fill up. You can see, yeah, they both should now have 6 on gas. Yeah, very similar timing there. You'll see gas count very slightly higher for GunGFu. Work count dead even. And now the first thing is what 2 units come out. And Stalker Sentry. Okay, so GunGFu is going for the more defensive option here. Stalker Sentry allows you to get a very quick hallucinated Phoenix whilst not dying to Adepts. At the other side, right, and we have Stalker. Usually more aggressive. You usually move across the map with these, trying to pressure a bit. And it's pretty indicative, I would say, generally of a blink opening.
Correct. That's one very standard option here. Nice pylon block by GunGFuBanDa in Spaz's base there. So Spaz is going to pop out with those 2 Stalkers, but the pylon does scout the 2 Stalkers, which is really one of the key reasons you put it down there. So now you know exactly what it's up against. Aha, but look at this for Spaz. He's got the double sentry behind this as well. So as both players look at dropping down that natural expansion, GunGFu's already down and Spaz should be down very soon. Nice probe kill. But as both players expand down, we're going to see what their tier 2 tech building is, and that's going to tell us an awful lot about these players. We'll see 3 Stalkers out for GunGFu, whereas it's going to be 2 Stalkers and 2 sentries out for Spaz.
Generally, I feel like if you go for this quicker expansion, if you go for a 2-gate expand, you're more likely to see a Robo get dropped down here because you want to start getting into Immortals pretty quickly. You see GunGFu bites on that first of all and does go for that Robo facility. Now let's keep an eye on the other side of what Spaz is going to do. And there is the Robo. Yep, so bang on there. Both of them going for those robotics. They're going to start produce observers, probably two apiece, I would guess, and I would expect to see Immortal production begin. After that, we'd probably see Forges go down soon, possibly Robotics Bays for some earlier disruptors, but we're there. Seeing still very similar builds.
Yep, the only difference right now is that Forge down for GunGFu, which is going to be a huge indicator of army strength in the mid game, especially the longer that Spaz delays his Forge, the more chances GunGFu's going to have for a positive engagement where he's got 1 or 2 upgrades ahead of his opponent. And of course, as you know, in any gateway army battle with Protoss players, that +1 or +2 upgrade advantage almost negates any army supply advantage you've got.
This is so bad right now.
Here.
This is something you just don't expect to see in top level games, but the wall was just thrown down a little bit too late. At least 4, possibly 5 workers, and the Adepts should, at least one of the Adepts should get out. Yeah, that's huge. 5 workers, and this is what I was saying earlier on to Creighton. If you can just get a couple of worker lead, it is a huge snowball, and that's Spaz. This is his first ever top-level competitive game. He's only played in smaller, he's played in a lot of the Alpha X events, big shout out to them and things like that, but this is his first major event, his first premiere, and he has just got off to a blinding start.
Yeah, absolutely. As we said, these mirror matchups rest on the edge of a knife, and any tiny change like this, more Adepts sneaking in here for more probe kills. We can already see Spaz now with an almost 8 probe lead. Wow, 3 more probes going down. They're not quite as successful as the first one, but still really impressive. Yeah, 8 probes ahead now for Spaz. And even those army supplies a bit down because he lost those adepts, he's going to be in solid shape as the game moves on. As you said, not the kind of mistake you expect to see out of a seasoned German player like GunGFuBanDa.
Now, one thing that this means is that GunGfu will be throwing a lot of Chrono into his Nexuses to try and catch up in workers. We should be seeing across the other side of the map, Chrono going elsewhere. The energy is high enough for a couple. I'd expect to see it going to the Robo, the Forge, and the Twilight. Because he can afford to do that now. He is up in workers. Still waiting to see where he throws out Chronos. He does have the energy. But it's such an important tool to keep track of. Because there are no probes being produced here. 5 gateways right now for Spaz.
Wow, he may even be saving up those Chronos to boost up a big gateway army and try and push while he's got the advantage here. You know, when we talk, hold on just a minute, GunGfu moving in with a small adept force, he's going to spot everything, and he's going to move in here, and the War Prism is going to mean these adepts are so much more effective in the main base. Good surround, though, by Spaz, pulling some of those probes out. He's going to try and rotate down to the natural, but won't find any juice here. Spaz defending fairly well, even though he didn't spot that War Prism coming out earlier. Good focus fire on the Warp Prism, and that should mean that, yeah, he's going to get away, but the Warp Prism is going to be dangerously low right now, and that should force a probably a recall out of GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, he's either going to have to recall this or just leave it for like a long time. Now, did he get to see all of the gateways? Yeah, he saw quite a few coming in, but he did not see the Templar Archive, so he has no idea that there could be Archons coming his way. We have a double Immortal drop also now heading out on the map for Spaz, and neither player taking the bite yet and going for the third. I'm interested to see, it is just 1 observer apiece, okay. Now, upgrades, we can see 1-1. +1 even for both of them. Will be finishing very shortly, and here come the first couple of Archons.
Yeah, no Chronos out for Spaz on that upgrade, but look at his army supply with those Archons really bolstering the numbers quite a bit. He's going to be able to move it, and a double Archon drop moving to the main has been spotted, of course, by another Scouting Phoenix in the main base. The Warp Prism finally recalled to the natural, but here we go. Double Immortals coming in. They're not going to get too much done. Do pop the barriers on 1 Immortal, but they will be forced out by the large defensive army from GunGFuBanDa. But behind this, Spaz adding in some more Zealots coming across the map now to that third that GunGFu's planted down. Is GunGfu being too greedy here, trying to grab this third when he's so far behind in army supply?
Certainly, I can't see this third surviving a long time. We can see the move out now coming here from our blue Protoss player. He has Zealot charge. GunGFu's hasn't finished yet. If he goes right now, yeah, this is going to have to be a cancel. The army is not in position whatsoever. The army's all in the main watching that Prism. And this is a great move out from Spaz. Now, on the other side of the map, we do have a couple of Adepts going to move in. Look, let's just charge Zealots prepared. Spaz's defense has been great. And for a first showing, I'm very, very impressed with Spaz so far.
Yeah, he's doing a great job here. For those of you just joining us for the game, in the chat earlier as we were waiting for the game to start, Spaz was a little slow. Oh, nice pickup on that pylon, though. Oof, depowering 3 of the gateways. Beautifully done before he gets out of there. But before the game, Spaz was telling us, he was like, hey, this is my first big tournament. I'm not really sure what to do. He had a couple questions as to the admin and map choices and stuff. So any victories he takes here are really impressive, especially against a veteran player like GunGfu. Warp Prism is going to go down here, I think, and he's going to lose. Oh my god, the Warp Prism goes down. Luckily, the Immortal's not in it there, but the Immortals will get taken down by these Zealots. More charge lots getting on top there. The second Immortal goes down, and the army supply is still 10 in favor of Spaz, even though +2 is slightly ahead for GunGFuBanDa right now. This is anybody's game to win, Grant.
Yeah, certainly. GunGFu's done a better job of keeping constant Chronos into his upgrades. Spaz has had to use a couple of Chronos, and he has max energy on one of these Nexi. He's now going to repower these gateways, and he is moving out. His army is scary. +2 is not going to be done in time if he goes as soon as possible. This Prism will get sniped. It is, of course, just a hallucination. We're going to see this is a lot of Archons right now. There's going to be a total of 4, 5. And a load of hallucinations. Spaz is going for it here.
A load of hallucs. That's fantastic. I love this. As long as this Warp Prism stays alive, he should be okay. Now, this is really interesting. GunGFu moving out on the low ground, trying to catch some of this army, but of course, that's going to allow the army of Spaz to get into the third base and take out that third Nexus. He's still moving across with 3 hallucinated Archons. He's got so many Archons right now. He still actually is a little bit ahead in army supply, but the Archon count in favor of GunGFuBanDa. It's all going to come down to positioning here as the 2 armies are sandwiched against the natural here. Shield battery overcharge going down, but the Warp Bin's going down for Spaz as well. Fairly even on both sides here. +2 just finishing up in time for Spaz as this engagement goes down.
The main problem right now with Spaz's army is he has a lot of Zealots that weren't able to get into the fight, and the Stalkers, of which GunGFu had a few more, were always firing. So although Zealots are better in this composition, they weren't able to get involved a lot. And now this is looking very close. This is a real micro war. Hallucinated Archons across now for GunGFuBanDa. Army supply is favoring spaz. He's going for it. He's going to pick off 1 or 2 of these Archons now. There's one there, and spaz takes his first ever competitive game. What a result.
That was one of those fights that I wish we were on. We had time to go deep diving into the replay. I wish I was on the live stage right now at the offline event, and we could throw it over to the analysis desk for Roddy to talk us through that last fight. There were so many things happening that you simply don't have enough words per second to say. But we saw that fight swing back and forth several times. A really good opener for spaz, however we're going to pronounce his name. A good opener for spaz there. But then in the second portion of the fight, we saw the Zealots from GunGfu wrapping around to the backside, picking down some of the Archons. But the Immortals were safe in the middle of that army for the longest time. And those Immortals, those 2 Immortals in the middle, doing a ton of damage. And so as we get into the third phase of the fight, once the Zealots for GunGfu were cleaned up and the Gateway army was a little bit lower, things went really, really well for him at the end of the fight. And with that overwhelming Archon number, the overwhelming Immortal number, he was able to just plow through and take a big upset victory in game 1 over GunGfu. Grant, if you would hop into the game, that would be
that would be great. I was fixing it. Oh, no, I've actually really broken it. Okay. I wanted to make sure my mouse was no longer covering your lovely face, and then I really broke the source.
It's all right. Like I said yesterday, the only thing that it bothers me about is if I see your mouse, it looks to me like a bit of like a bug is somewhere in my office, and I always look over my shoulder because I expect to see a big hornet in front of my really crappy green screen that I've got here.
Okay, you're going to take up the whole screen again. Moving you to another monitor completely broke you.
Excellent.
So now we have... Oh my god, that looks awful.
Hello, everyone. I'm enormous.
No, Craig Nelson.
What are you talking about, Grant? That was exactly what it sounded like. All right, spaz coming in with a 1-game lead over GunGFuBanDa. Are we ready to hop into the game?
Oh, who knows? Yes, we are.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at you go, Grant. A production master, juggling all those plates at the same time, and I couldn't do it without
breaking all of these plates at the same time.
Who's our first player?
In the top right-hand side of Eternal Empire Ladder Edition, he's playing for Cascade Gaming, the blue Protoss player from Germany. It's GunGFuBanDa.
And his opponent in the bottom left-hand side, also representing Germany from Archangel Gaming. It's our red Protoss player, and his name is spaz.
Oh, I blew my load too early on the spin.
I'm going full German.
Yeah, spaz.
100%. Or
do the next introduction in German,
maybe,
sub.
Maybe it's just full Sean Connery. Spaz. It could be either.
Call him spaz. I like both, to be honest.
We've got to shave our Protoss players.
We can see here that spaz is going to check just to make sure there are no cannon shenanigans, and GunGFu's doing the exact same at the other side. Make sure there's no cannons, make sure there's no very, very early proxy gate behind the natural. It's not that common nowadays, but you know the one game you don't look for it, it will definitely be there.
My ladder experiences prove that to be absolutely true.
Yes. So everything is open standard. We are seeing double gate cybercore. Showtime recently has tried to sort of innovate a little bit. Specifically, I found, I believe, on this map, going for a 1-gate expand on the low ground. But every time someone sees that, they proxy. Ooh, this is cute. Okay, so what spaz has done here is he's faked his second pylon in the main, cancelled it, and he's put it down in a proxy location. The frustrating thing is that there is actually another probe coming, so this isn't going to work. So GunGFu is going to come in. He's going to go, why is there only one pylon? Of course, there must be another because spaz is good enough to not get supply blocked. And GunGFu now knows he is going to be getting proxied of some sort, and it will be a robo.
Yeah, I like that choice a lot. Proxy Stargate would have been the other option, but I really love the proxy robo here out of spaz. Trying to hide that second pylon, of course, GunGFu sneaking that other probe or that probe back in. We'll see it. And so now he knows he's getting proxied. He should send that probe out for a scout out around the map to try and figure out what he is going for. And look at that. Queued up straight. What a scouting pattern. What a professional. What a seasoned player GunGFuBanDa is.
He changed it.
Oh no. As I was heaping praise on him. Oh no. Well, he's gonna miss it, but it's okay. He's got a Stargate behind this. I like Stargate against Robo. Yes. You know, we've got You can get the Phoenix to lift up, and even the Phoenix to push away the Warp Prism. Oracles to pick down, pesky Immortals coming across the map. Really, Stargate generally pretty good against anything Robo. What is Spaz going to do behind this Warp Prism to pressure GunGFuBanDa?
I'm not too sure he's going to do a huge amount. I don't think he's adding on extra gates or anything just now. He hasn't expanded, of course. I'm curious to see where he goes with this. It may just be a few gates pressure. He may make an Immortal to follow this up and just go for one Immortal, one Prism, and go. I think generally that is going to be the option here. Maybe he's just going to dance. Or he's been seeing
maybe an Immortal? Ooh, that probe just missing it, I think, though. Not going to see it. Oof. I will say really quickly, Grant, if you wouldn't mind, swap the player nameplates. You've got Spaz on top right now. And I think GunGFu should be on top.
Do you do that?
Shift X or Control X. Yeah, Control X.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely, man. You got to have those lined up because otherwise it looks like that'll help your game calling immensely because now it'll line up with GunGFu being our top player and Spaz being our bottom player. Helps reinforce where they are.
Creighton Olsen, you are a genius. There we go. I taught you Control Shift O. You taught me Control X. This is how teamwork works.
That's right. So Scouting Phoenix does get in here for Spaz, and he's going to see what's going on. But he does have the Immortal coming out to join his Warp Prism. Is he going to go for the double Immortal Harass, or is he just going to head out with one? Just going to head out with one here. Wants to get some damage on the map and wants to get it done soon, as both players drop their Nexus. But Spaz is going to be a little bit ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, Spaz's Nexus, that little bit quicker, has now completed. We can see this one. Only 3/4 of the way done for GunGFu. Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, you've wandered straight into a trap. Oh, he gets the Immortal down, which is great, but that Warp Prism immediately explodinates, and the Immortal even getting picked up here. Oh, Spaz blundering his way into a terrible, terrible trap. There should be another Graviton beam here, but with the Stalkers, he's going to chase it away. Spaz will save that Immortal, but at what cost? That's a rough start. Sentry getting picked off now. A couple probes getting harvested, and things are looking better and better for GunGFuBanDa going with that Stargate follow-up. What did we say at the beginning of the game, Grant? Stargate, a strong counter against Proxy Robo, just because of the very nature of the units that come out of that Stargate.
Yeah, I was really surprised at the pathing that Spaz took with that Warp Prism. He went straight through the middle of the map instead of... I think what he expected was his opponent to be looking around the sides, because usually that's where drops come from, but GunGFuBanDa was going through the middle. It's like mind games upon mind games upon mind games. And it didn't work out for him. He did save the Immortal, which is a very important tool to keep alive here in terms of any defense that is to come and follow up. He is also getting Blink to try and deal with these pesky Phoenixes. And now for GunGFu, it is all about keeping Phoenixes alive. If you've ever watched a Rotterdam stream, that's all he talks about is keeping your Phoenix alive. It's the most important part of this build. It doesn't look like a massive commitment to Phoenixes, as only 4 have been made, and the Twilight Council has gone down, as well as the Forge now. So it seems to be 4 just to harass, to get information. It's not going to be that double Stargate Rotti style with charge and DTs. But still a very, very solid start here from GunGFu, and you see it in the supply.
Absolutely. GunGFu knows he's in a very safe place now. Interesting, a third base down for Spaz already. But GunGFu should know he's in a very safe place. Picking off that Warp Prism is basically just... It's basically like an action movie where he had... Spaz had a gun pointed at him, and GunGFu did some kung fu move to grab the gun and unload all the bullets from it and hand the gun back to Spaz. He was like, no, you can keep your Robo. You can keep your Immortal. But now you've got no ammunition. Your attack has a lot less teeth this time around, and he's going to take advantage of that by getting his Forge. Hopefully getting his +1 soon to keep up with Spaz. But Blink on the way, Immortals behind this, and adding on the gateways. I mean, he's in such a good spot. And as you said, keeping those Phoenix alive, making sure they can continue getting more information, and doubly importantly, keeping Spaz back at home while GunGFu moves out.
Spaz right now, he did go for that quite quick third, considering his situation and the way that the game opened, and he hasn't got any pylons or any batteries around to defend it, and I'm a little bit concerned because we have a push out coming from GunGFu, who is up 6 army supply. He will be down an upgrade in about 40 seconds, but it's still going to be a good while. He's also, he's lost quite a few probes this game. We've seen 11 go down to these Phoenixes, and that's not a small amount. And now look at this warping over here. I'm very concerned for the life of this third base.
GunGFu playing like a Terran player right now. Pressure in the natural, pressure on that Robo facility, depowering the proxy Robo, and now pressure into the third. Even though spaz will have that +1 finished up in 40 seconds or so, this attack is going to hit like a truck. 2 Immortals down, plenty of sentries with force field energy. He's got some Stalkers behind us to try and draw the army back, and these Phoenix with plenty of lift energy as well. The War Prism to reinforce, and this third base from spaz, I don't think it's going to be long for this world. It's going to take a really big commitment from spaz, and oh my god, GunGFu. Force Field's getting that Immortal down, and that's a huge pickoff. GunGFu now 2 Immortals to 0 against spaz.
Yeah, spaz, what he needs to do right now is buy time. If +1 finishes, he has a better chance, and it's getting closer and closer, as we see here. Now, 9/10 of the way done. He just needs to wait for it. We'll be coming up to that 15-second mark on the right-hand side of your screen, literally any second. And once that finishes, there we go. This fight becomes a bit easier if he can blink in and maybe pick off the Immortal. That would be great. Army supply, though, 49 to 61. Worker count dead even. And GunGFu has a third behind this. spaz cannot lose this third. It is a vital piece of tech for him. But he's actually getting Zealots and Zealot legs now. And that's very good against the army he's playing against. So I'm beginning to believe a little bit more in spaz's defense. But he is losing so many workers.
Absolutely. Grant, one more quick note on the overlay. You might want to check the scores. If you change the player locations, the score does not automatically update. For those of you watching, yes, spaz did win game number 1. GunGFu needs to win this to take the series. The score is currently 1 spaz, 0 GunGFuBanDa. spaz moving outside his natural right now. 6 more probes going down. These Phoenix have picked off. How many probes have they picked off? I mean, goodness gracious. This has been a crazy game. 18 probes. Make it, is that 20 now? 19 probes going down. That's huge. And we can see it reflected not just in spaz's probe count, but in his overall tech and building structure. I mean, look at GunGFuBanDa's base. He's got so much more infrastructure than spaz does, setting himself up really well for the long game.
Phoenix is now being a nuisance. There are only Zealots defending this base, and they can swipe away all they want, but they're never going to be able to hit those units up in the air. We have a very good defense here for GunGFu. At the top of this ramp, spaz is going to need to pay attention and just blink away. Doesn't really want to lose anything there, and he won't. That's nice. Oh, the blink afterwards. Actually, spaz was a little bit prepared for that and had the slightly better concave for the first few hits, but now spaz definitely wants to retreat. He does not want to overcommit here. Okay, good. This is a very scrappy fight in the middle of the map. Army supply is still pretty close. The upgrade advantage is still quite heavily in spaz's favor. It's going to be a full upgrade ahead for almost all of this game. This is cute. He found some really nice movement. He might... Oh, he gets a prism. If he can get out here, if spaz can save most of these stalkers, this would be nice. Because he found a prism, he killed a couple of batteries, he supply blocked GunGFuBanDa, and he did lose probably a few too many stalkers in the end. But it was a nice move out there. The prism, killing that was essential.
Yeah, beautifully done there by spaz. He got a lot of damage done that he needed to get done, which was killing the Warp Prism, the supply block, of course. Unfortunately, these Phoenix are just having a field day. Every time they've got the energy for another Graviton Beam, they're lifting another probe up. 5 more probes going down, and his economy is just dropping further and further. So while GunGFuBanDa is a little bit behind the upgrade game, he's going to be so far ahead in the army supply that it should be a fair fight either way. And as we said, with the War Prism coming back in for GunGFuBanDa, once that War Prism's there, he's going to have all sorts of ability to reinforce and defend his third base as spaz keeps losing probes left and right.
Yeah, this is frustrating because spaz at this point, if he'd have thrown down a cannon, this would have all been pushed away a long time ago. We are seeing Zealot run-bys now as well. We're going to see a couple of DTs warped in to deal with this. That's nice, but it does give away that the DT tech is there. And that's not something he necessarily wanted to give away in a defensive posture, although it is obviously a very great defensive tool. The forges are there. I would have loved to see a cannon or even just 2 free stalkers at home to keep things going. GunGFu's, this observer has seen so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We see already GunGFu added on those photon cannons to make sure he didn't get surprised by the DTs. They're also going to buy him some time with his Zealot run-by. If I can say, both players are doing a really nice job. Very often in PvP, PvP especially, I think, the players like to do what I call, they get blinders on, where they'll get their big armies up, and they'll both, in their heads, say, okay, I have to beat his army with my big army, and here's where the battle's going to take place. And both players will, like, throw maxed out armies at each other. They'll even it out. And then he'll throw max armies at each other again in the exact same place. And I think that's a bit counterintuitive. You know, good players, like these two guys, are seeing, okay, hey, I don't have to just throw a giant army against his giant army. I can do a Zealot run by. I can leave the Phoenix around to harass. I can get some DTs in around the 4th base. Find something to make it a little bit more of an effective game rather than just smashing armies against each other. So it's nice to see these players varying up their aggression just a little bit.
Yeah, spaz has he's kept his Zealots and his Stalkers separated for the entire last 5 or 6 minutes, and all he's doing is he's just waiting for one overcommittal so these Zealots can run in and wreak absolute havoc on the mineral line. Finally, it looks like the Phoenix is maybe dealt with. Yeah, there we go. At least one of them's going down. There has been an Archon sitting here defensively, even a super battery being used to keep them safe, and that's gonna be a cooldown that's gone for a while. Spaz, I think, has been hiding how many Archons he has, because he's currently up to 5. GunGFu has 6, and GunGFu is the one that is getting the shield upgrades, I believe. Yeah, so spaz is going to have the better aggressive upgrades. The shield upgrades on Archons is so big, as we do have what seems to be a meeting in the middle of the map.
I'm trying to read chat here. The Germans in chat are correcting our pronunciation of spaz.
Oh,
Spaz. I can't do it. Whatever. We'll try. Big engagement at the 4th here, though, and it looks like GunGFuBanDa is in a really significantly more advantageous position. An aggressive blink forward here. He's got his Stalkers in. His Immortals shelling away from the back. The War Prism here to micro those units. And even though he lost a couple probes and it did get his 4th base canceled, spaz is going to lose this one here as well. And he can lose his 4th base. And he's going to take a big beating in the army supply. GunGFu now about 15 army supply ahead of his opponent. And even though spaz is 1 upgrade up, you're right. The shield upgrade is going to help out those Archons especially. And spaz, that War Prism dangerously low. The War Prism getting sniped as well, and that's great for GunGFu.
Very nice save there from GunGFu on a couple of Immortals as well. This fight a little bit sketchy. Now, the one thing that spaz continues to have going for him is he still has so many Zealots. And Zealots are better than Stalkers, and they're great against Immortals. The Archon count is very, very high, though. We're looking at 8 Archons to just the 6. So if the Archons can get the angle... Now, the problem with that, as we do have a fight here, is if an Archon gets surrounded, it does die to Zealots. And you can see the Zealots start to really do some damage. And Archon's pushing in down towards the south. It looks like the fight on the north will be won by GunGFuBanDa. But I'm actually beginning to like spaz in this fight quite a lot. He just needs to kill a few more of those high-value units, and he's going to.
As soon as those Zealots go down, though, there's simply nothing left. Those Immortals are going to do a ton of damage. We see an aggressive blink forward there from spaz. He's trying to gun down those Immortals, but the Immortals really making up the backbone of GunGFu's army. And as long as those Immortals are alive, GunGFu's hope is alive in this game. And again, one of those incredible fights, Grant, with 3 or 4 different phases where if we had a Protoss player that we could throw to in the break to talk about what a crazy multi-stage fight that was, we could really break down everything that's happening. But as you said, the Zealots getting a good surround on some of those units, very valuable. But unless you've got just massive critical amounts of Zealots and you're able to take out all the Immortals are just going to do crazy damage. And GunGFu, of course, a seasoned enough player where he is not going to allow those Immortals to die if he's going to War Prism to save them.
If spaz had just lost 2 or 3 less workers this game, or even, let's go a little bit further, say 7 or 8 less workers, he'd have had more units there, and that fight was 1 unit away from going a different way for both of those players. It was so close. If there was 1 or 2 more Archons for spaz, he would have been able to get those AoE shots onto the Immortals. He would have killed more of them. Look how low they ended up. They had no shields, and both of them on 31 and 33 hit points respectively. The Archons, towards the end of the fight, had no shields. It was so close, and I feel like spaz is doing a good job of taking fights from behind, but he needs to defend this base. This is going to be essential.
Yeah, Zealots on the bottom side here. The south flank looking very strong for GunGFu, but he's a little bit reticent to engage. I think he's trying to wait until these Zealots can absolutely regain their charge and get wrapped around some of these Archons. That just means that they're not going to be very effective in that fight. GunGFu not microing those Zealots very well, and this is going to allow spaz forward. And actually, spaz evening up the army supply just a little bit here. Archons moving forward and trying to get the fight out here, but it looks like spaz actually has the Archon advantage this time and slightly better positioning. The Zealots are going to be able to pick down some of those Archons, and GunGFu forced to retreat this time. Wow, another great fight, evening up the odds between these 2 players. +3 really shining there with the upgrade advantage for spaz.
Yeah, you saw that then. And again, look how low a couple of these Archons are. It was very, very close. But this time, spaz was really able to take out a lot of the key tech units. Like, we can see he killed, I think, 2 or 3 of those 4 Immortals that have gone down in this game in that fight. And they're very, very useful because that means his Archons, of which he should still have more. No, he is down 1 now. Of which he is producing a lot of. We'll be able to do a little bit more in the fight. And the Zealots here getting a great wraparound. If all of it, he's going to recall. That was an interesting recall, but it's because of the Zealot run by. Coming in, and 15 probes going down for spaz. I think spaz may have just fallen apart a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, how many games have we seen in these, even just yesterday, how many games have we seen in which one run-by back home clearing off a massive number of probes was enough to put the nail in the coffin for one of the players here? Even if the fight at his opponent's base went really well, losing that many probes back home is exactly what you need to do to go ahead and take an advantage in this series. So really well done by GunGFu to commit a couple Zealots away from the main fight and send them back into the natural. 5th base down for GunGFu now, and he's in a really strong position now. Dark Shrine going down, Robo going down, and most importantly for GunGFu, finally, his +3 attack about to finish, which means he's going to be even up on upgrades and slightly ahead since he does have +1 armor, or +1 shields, rather.
Yeah, this game, when it comes down to it, if anyone asks what the story of this game was, it's going to be workers killed, because GunGFu has killed 52, Spaz has killed 4.
Holy smokes, that is a large difference in worker kills.
Woo. Yeah, definitely. Now, good news for Spaz is he has had this enriched Vespian Geyser for a while. That means his gas count is going to be good. That means the Archon number will be flowing. They're even right now. But if you look at gas income, Spaz is very, I say that in a dead even. Spaz should be able to pull ahead pretty quickly. He's finally killed a couple of workers with some Stalkers here. If you catch a Phoenix, that would be nice. No, not going to manage to get one. And he will just blink away.
And look at this, now that GunGFu's up on +3, he's moving on to +2 shields as well. His army getting more and more scary. I don't know if you looked earlier, Grant, at the units lost tab, but Spaz has actually lost 4 warp prisons this game. 4 warp prisons, and that is huge, not just because, and these stalkers getting caught is not great either. He cannot afford to lose these units as his army supply continues to plummet. He's lost 4 warp prisms this game, and that's just an inordinate number of warp prisms to lose. Simply can't have that much damage going down. Nice scouting zealot there from GunGFu. Seeing that 5th base finishing up, it's going to bring Spaz's army all the way back down. But 11 probes going down the natural again. More zealots. Those 3 hero zealots from that warp prism have been doing an incredible job the entire game.
Yeah, finally it looks like some of the zealots will go down, but this prism is still here. The zealot, there is still 1 zealot inside of it, and with another warp in, this aggression won't stop, because at this point, GunGFu can afford zealots as much as he wants. 4 zealots to him is nothing. It's couch change. So he's going to be able to keep making them. Oh, and the first disruptive shot comes in. Oh my Jesus.
Goodness gracious, from bad to worse. Spaz now down to 69 army supply. Nice. Oh. Against the 100 of GunGFuBanDa.
Yeah, and GunGFu's upgrades are great. He's now beginning to add double Colossi production. He's getting extended thermal lance, as you said. +2 shields, very, very close to finishing. That's
little fight going down here on the bottom side of the map.
Nothing here.
Yeah, nothing here. And more disruptor shots, softening up, and that's going to be just enough. Spaz is going to lose that one. GunGFuBanDa draws the series even 1-1. Grant, before the next game, could you do me a favor and change us to regular health bars, not the team-colored health bars?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm not sure why they changed. Let me just get that right.
It keeps reverting for you.
It keeps reverting every time I change server, so I do apologize. There we go. Regular health bars is back on. I have been invited. I just have a couple of small things. For whatever reason, some of my scenes decided to shit the bed, so I'm just going to fix that.
That's all right, Grant. You're doing a great job here. For those of you who don't know, guys, Grant is casting, he's observing, he's running the production, he's adminning with some of the players here. He's talking to the admins as well. He's spinning a lot of plates right now, and I literally have not touched my keyboard maybe two or three times today just to check on some stuff. I'm just following his observing and talking about the game. So thank you for all of you in chat for letting us know what's going on.
Yeah, please,
we'll
guys.
change it to hopefully only damaged health bars and team colors, and then we'll fix up what's going on. Grant's doing a great job here. Just he's got a lot to take care of. We had a little emergency with our scenes earlier today.
Oh, don't.
So it's been a big day, but we are rocking and rolling now, and everything should be fine.
Okay, fixed. We are getting into the final map of this best of 3. Game is ticking down. Thank you for letting me know, guys. I'm trying my best. I apologize if I make any mistakes. I'm trying to be good.
Oh, you're doing great, man. These are great games so far. It's hard to go wrong. You've got such good players, and you and I are having such a good time watching them. So game number 3. We've had a lot of luck with series on our stream here, Grant, for the DreamHack Masters Summer EU, where a lot of them are going for a 3rd game here. I can't remember exactly what the proportion was yesterday, but maybe of our 7 games that we cast, 5 or so of them went to a game 3.
I can't remember what happened 10 minutes ago, Creighton.
It was.
I'm just going to agree, Creighton. That sounds exactly right.
Thanks.
You've definitely very insightful. I'm very, very proud of you. And so is my dad. In the bottom left-hand side, representing Archangel EU, he is the blue German Protoss player. He took game 1. Can he take game 3? It's spaz.
And they've changed colors on us. In the top right-hand corner, in the red, representing Cascade Gaming in Germany, it is GunGFuBanDa. Tricksy Protoss players changing colors on us halfway through. Oh my gosh. So, Grant, have you used your new trick this game? Do you have the...
Yep.
Attaboy.
I didn't have to use it, actually. They were in the right place, but I thought about it, so that's the same as using
always
it.
Nice. It's just one of those additional things on my mental checklist. Every time I go into a game, I just have to just add it to my list of, like, things to make sure that the bars are on the right side of the match. There's so much to think about.
Yeah, there is.
Anyway, a game 3 here, Grant, and this is so exciting. This is what we talked about for the 30 minutes that we were filling. I mean, what didn't we talk about in the 30 minutes that we were filling before the game started? But this is what we talked about here, where these players are really good at rotating around, changing their tech choices.
Yeah.
And we saw that last game with GunGFu, who was like, okay, I have the space now. I can make those micro adjustments because I know I'm a little bit ahead. I can invest in robo facility. I can go up to disruptors, and really those disruptors just putting the nail in the coffin for spaz. But every little tiny adjustment, every little tiny mistake really is brought to the forefront in a mirror matchup, to be certain.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. And let's not write off the last game for spaz. He managed to make it a long game despite his proxy robo hard failing. It did 0, absolutely zilch. He lost the warp prism really early in the game. And this game, he has actually decided, no, I'm just going to keep all my buildings at home as that second pylon is in the main. We won't be having any proxies of any kind. And looking like we'll have a pretty standard game here. Double Adept openers for both. Warp gate begins, and let the fun begin.
Smart man. So yeah, we've got, as you said, double Adept openers on both sides. Warp gate research at exactly the same time. So far, the only major difference is that spaz has started one more probe than GunGFuBanDa has, and nothing else. This is going to be a mirror matchup to end. Oh, second pylon here for GunGFu. Wait a minute. He just went probe, pylon, and then probe. Okay. So I think it's all fine here. Should be a very even matchup. Double Adept usually indicates you're saving up some gas. Of course, both players have both their gases taken, both their gases saturated up, and both of them banking a lot of gas. Are we going to see Stargate on both sides of the map, Grant?
I'm not sure yet. I think we have to give an idea. They're both looking to go for an expansion pretty soon. So that's definitely going to be what they do before anything else, and that's why they banked up a little bit of money there. But the gas is continuing to bank quite high, so I'd expect to see tech go down very, very shortly, unless they're going double sentry immediately following these adepts. That's also a good way to spend some of that gas. But we're still waiting to see more adepts. Are they both going to go glaive adepts?
Wow, that's really surprising to see that many adepts coming out here. spaz going to get in and sees the 3 adepts from his opponent. You should now know that he's going to be up against a lot of adepts. I've got an eagle eye fixed on that production tab to see when somebody drops down any additional tech, and there it is, Twilight Council from spaz. Are we going to see it from GunGFuBanDa as well?
At this point, when they're producing, he's going to go for a forge. I think we will see a Twilight Council go down. I can't see any other option right now. When you've produced already 6 adepts, you have to stop producing them for now. And instead, he's opting to get batteries on his natural. It's very late, whatever he's going for tech-wise. I think he wants to get +1 to defend against the possible adepts. But I feel like if we do see glaives coming out of spaz, glaive adepts is better than +1 adepts, right? It must be. There's a robo coming down for GunGFu. And he's going to begin +1, so it is just going to be +1 robo. We blink! Well, we got this so wrong, Creighton Olsen.
Yes, we absolutely did. So many adepts on the map, and then blink. And oh my gosh, in an echo of game number 1 here, some force fields do go down to try and stop this and save what he can, but GunGFu letting those adepts in. An uncharacteristic mistake from our very experienced German Protoss player. 5 probes going down for the cost of 4 adepts. Not worth it at all for GunGFuBanDa. That is a big loss, and again, just like game number 1, that's going to allow spaz to get a little bit ahead here in the game, and hopefully he can snowball that advantage. But very different builds now. We see Blink coming out from spaz, of course, the Robo and +1 on the way for GunGFuBanDa, and we should see Observer first, and then probably Immortal coming out, +1 Immortal, and a lot of sentries down for GunGFuBanDa now.
There's no way he lets us complete that. Okay. Yep, Creighton, you're right. Now, the good thing for GunGFu is he is going to have Immortals against a lot of Blink Stalkers. But GunGFu has also put like a lot of money into batteries, right? How many did he build? Oh no, just 1. Okay, I think he may have cancelled a couple. because I thought he had a few more. Now we are seeing the first Immortal in the production tab. Lots of gateways being added across the board now. We're going to be going up to 4 here for spaz. None added for GunGfu, because of course he is producing Immortals instead. And will probably continue to do so en masse. Well, this could be bad.
Couple of depths getting in here, but there are sentries. Again, we're going to see a very similar attack to the one we just saw with spaz in GunGFuBanDa's main. But this time, he is focused firing down the sentries instead. Only 3 probes going down, as the last of these adepts will get taken down. 3 probes, still a decent prize, but spaz, and actually that's going to even up the probe count a little bit here. Spaz was ahead in probes, but he's been focusing on army count until just then. Fake warp prism into the main, but that's not going to scare spaz too much here, and he's going to move across the map already. We can see him warping in from that forward pylon, adding on some more stalkers. He's got does he have a warp prism available? No warp prism available, because of course he has no robo, so he is just going to have to reinforce with these stalkers. But Blink finished up, and now we're going to see spaz going in for the assault. What do you think, Grant? Has he got it in him? Is there enough gas in the tank here?
+1 finished for GunGfu. GunGfu very similar in army supply. It's going to come down. Yeah, you can see the hallucinated Immortal probably just saved GunGfu from a very sketchy fight. It would have been close, but I think seeing just 2 Immortals, there was a good chance spaz would have just blinked in. Now, adepts coming across the map again. Probes are going to be called to counter them. That means a couple will go down. We're not seeing anything really at the other side of the map. So this time, this is a little bit worse here for spaz. He is going to clean this up, of course, but he loses 5 probes himself, putting now down 9 workers in total. He's down an upgrade. He has no robo. Excuse me, no
big attack
forge.
At the natural right now. Big attack at the natural right now. As spaz is forced to blink away yet again, getting a lot of those stalkers out. Some force fields did go down. Shield battery overcharge not used though, I don't believe, from GunGfu. So yeah, he did use the shield battery overcharge, so he won't be able to have that for the next fight. But I do like that GunGfu didn't use it in the very first aggression from spaz. He didn't see it and get away. He used the shield battery overcharge for the second one. Spaz going to try and push in here again. GunGfu should be able to hold fairly well. He now has 3 real Immortals out. As spaz was not able to kill off those Immortals. The shield battery overcharge saving GunGfu that time.
It was really cute what spaz went for then. He went for a very aggressive late blink. Instead of blinking in or blinking out, he walked in, walked out, blinked backwards, and nearly sniped an Immortal. He was 2 stalker shots away from getting that snipe on the Immortal. Guys, I know I am dropping some frames right now. We will sort it after this series, this game. I'm not sure what's going on. I've had this issue all day, and it seemed to have fixed itself. I'd had no problems for the last hour and a half, and now all of a sudden it's gone poop.
No problem. The games are still great, Grant. I'm sure people can appreciate that. Immortals shelling down on these stalkers. The stalkers trying to get some damage done, but really spaz just hasn't gotten anything done behind this. But, okay, I said sorry. He hasn't gotten anything done behind this. He hasn't gotten anything done at the main base of GunGFuBanDa, but he has gotten something done behind this, which is his 3rd base is now down. If he can get that 3rd base up, sustain the 3rd base, and take an economic advantage, he may have a shot at coming back in the game. But the real Achilles heel right now of spaz's build, do you know what it is, Grant?
No upgrades.
No upgrades. Not even a forge on his side of the map, I don't think. No, not even a forge. And GunGfu working on +2 now. This is not like last game where GunGfu was about 1 upgrade behind, but working on them.
Yeah.
This game, simply no upgrades for spaz.
Yeah, the longer this game goes, the scarier it's going to get, because the Immortal count is rising, the Stalker count is rising for GunGfu. You can see he's getting Blink of his own. He's even getting a defensive cannon for if a couple of Adepts were to shade in. Now, spaz is putting all his eggs into a relatively strange basket, and that is Resonating Glaives is just completed, and I think he's just going to go mass Stalker with Blink, mass Resonating Glaives Adepts. We do have a fight in the middle of the map, though. It does look like spaz is going to be pushed all the way home, and his pylon possibly cleaned up, but he needs to start making some Adepts pretty soon. He got Resonating Glaives. There we go. 7 on the way.
Yeah, thank goodness, because he definitely needs to bolster his army a bit. We see GunGfu moving across now, trying to chase this down, but that is a lot of Glaive Adepts, and Glaive Adepts get scarier and scarier the larger and larger the count of them gets. Here we go, big engagement though. Force fields from GunGfu, not too bad, trying to zone out a couple of the stalkers in the back.